All right. So for those of you who haven't been on one of these Vital Live webinars before, what's going to happen is we've got myself. I'm the moderator on this, and we bring on an expert. And so our expert today is, from the Startup Showcase, we do our best to keep industry out of this, but there are new products that people want to know about. There are people, coming out with awesome new products, and we just kind of want to get the word out. And this one probably couldn't be any more. I don't know. I just talked with Jason last week, so it feels like I'm going back over this again. But when you come out with something that's basically everybody says that you can't do, everybody's going to pick it apart. The keyboard warriors, the keyboard ninjas, we'll say, and we've got the Timber Ninja himself, Jason Red, to kind of debunk those myths. So you can, down at the bottom, there's a question and answer bar. There's a chat bar, so you can type your questions in there. If you want to answer the question live, you can just type that in when you ask the question, and we will get going. So let's see. Let's proceed. So yeah, somebody just put in the question and answer. They thought it was canceled because they were having a problem. So the computer that we are running this on, not Jason or I, but the main computer, the one that tells us it's time to go, was not operational. So we are obviously up and running now and ready to go. So Jason Red, Timber Ninja Outdoors. What is Timber Ninja Outdoors?
Well, we are a mobile hunting products company. So the first product that obviously people have seen so far, I mean, some people haven't, but is our C1 carbon fiber climbing stick. So that was our first introduction into the mobile hunting products category. So yeah, we have a 20 and a 24-inch two-step climbing stick, and also a little micro stick that essentially fills the gap for some of the one stick gurus out there.
Okay. And so again, as we're going into this is uncharted territory to some degree. For those people that don't know, why carbon fiber, and why haven't we seen it in the hunting industry? I know it seems to be everywhere else. I mean, we see it in obviously arrows and risers and bows, stabilizers and things like that. But, why has there been that void?
That's really a good question. And there really hasn't been a void. So if a lot of people have been around since the 90s, Old Man had a carbon fiber climbing stand. So there has been introductions into the hunting space with carbon fiber. It just never really expanded past that point. And I actually had a conversation with the gentleman that used to own Old Man before they were bought out, and we talked about it. And this was a while before I even launched the products. Is when I was going through the research and development stage. I had found that out, and coincidentally, he's also over TMA. So he's the president of TMA, and that's how I ran into him. And I mean, I knew about the Old Man, but I didn't know the connection that he was there, and all this jive. But it was actually a pretty profitable product line for them at the time. But the company that bought them chose not to proceed with that product. And I think there were some issues where they were having it made in, somewhere over in Europe. So, but that was like well before carbon fiber had came to where it is now with other sports in the US. And I mean, honestly, I can't tell you why nobody's went down that path. I have my own opinions of why, but really don't want to care about sharing that. But it's not an easy process. I mean, it takes some time. There's some failures. It's not cheap to get into the research and development of it. Like you can essentially buy a 20-inch tube of aluminum, for $8. And a 20-inch tube of carbon fibers, substantially more than that. So you don't want to go busting those things up in the research and development stage, which I did a lot of that. Not really busting them up, but definitely had some failures. So I mean, it's not cheap to get into it, and some people are just it's something new to them. Not everybody wants to do something new.
Okay.
So we
Yeah.
took it on.
And Dave's asking here, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, danced around it maybe a little bit, but he's saying he really likes the idea of a non-metallic stick. But what is the main challenge with carbon fiber manufacturing? Or, I mean, is there different classes of carbon fiber? Is it all created equal?
That's a really good question. It's not all created equal. There's different types of processes that you can do with carbon fiber. So you can do, like the product that we currently have is a propulsion tube. So it's essentially woven material that's layered up and has resins applied, and it's pulled through a tube. Very similar to how aluminum is. Aluminum is an extrusion process, right? Whereas carbon fiber is what they call propulsion. So that's one way people do it, and there's also other ways where you mold and press layers of carbon fiber into a mold. Some of them can be vacuum sealed, and some of them can be completely just pressed down, like you see. If you're familiar with the automotive industry, when they press out panels for cars, you know how they have two molds that press and they form the shape. You can do that with carbon fiber as well, but it's all a consistency of. So let me back up. Carbon fiber is a certain type of woven material that's used, but you can add other types of woven materials to either make it stronger, make it more heat resistant, do all these other different things with it. So there's a big recipe that can go into more in-depth carbon fiber manufacturing, which you'll be seeing more of that soon from us on some other products we're releasing. But our product that we currently use is a propulsion stock tube material.
Okay.
A little elaborate, but I hope that answered the question.
Well, and I think, like I said before, like when I was asking about, what is Timber Ninja Outdoors, I think we need to kind of back up a little bit and give a little bit of background on yourself, because one of the questions that always comes up, or that's being tossed around the internet forever about carbon fiber, is the safety aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you have a interesting insight on that side of it.
Yeah, so my background is 16 years in personal protective equipment safety. So hand protection, fall protection, things in that realm. And then I also have a sporting background in rock climbing. So I have a pretty extensive background and experience in dealing with things at heights. And through my day job, I've came in contact with customers that manufacture carbon fiber products. So that's who's been really helped us through this R&D process. So it wasn't really something we just schemed up and started throwing together in the garage. Like we've sourced really reliable professionals that are already doing things for other industries. And I think in my background also, I was a pro level cyclist. So I started racing bicycles when aluminum was the primary bike used, and I went through into the carbon fiber bike transition. And I mean, most people that hunt probably don't ride many bikes or really keep up with it, but there's no longer aluminum bikes in the professional peloton of, like, say, the Tour de France. It's all carbon fiber. I mean, it's super resilient. It's like anything else, though. I mean, it can break. I mean, everything can break, but it's not like some of the questions or comments that I see on the internet that it's like going to completely explode on you. I shared a picture with a guy the other day of one of my original prototypes that I had drilled holes all the way through this thing, like moving steps and standoffs on, and I was still using it. And it definitely, through the process of what we ended up with, like we had to incorporate some things to restructure some areas where you penetrate, but nothing ever collapsed. I mean, you know, there was some compromise, but there wasn't like a complete failure. So carbon fiber as a product is extremely strong and resilient.
And so the sticks that you have, I guess tell us a little bit about them. Are they completely carbon fiber? Is everything? I mean, when you say, okay, we got a carbon fiber stick, this is
Yeah, no.
everything comes to mind. A whole bunch of arrows taped together. Um,
Yeah, it's so let's see if everybody can see this. So what's carbon fiber on our current stick is our tube. Our tube's carbon fiber, and then we use a polymer. It's, call it plastic, call it what you want it. Plastic would be a general term, but it's a polymer that we worked with engineers in the plastics industry to come up with the material that we used in this step. It's actually used in a lot of applications where aluminum is used in machining and for automotive parts. So it, from a structural standpoint, it has a lot of the same um, strength integrities as you would see with aluminum if you compare it. You know, to us, it's proprietary. I mean, you know, people can do the research to find it out if they want, but I'm just not going to give it to them. But that is what we call a polymer. So is our Versa button, but then we use metal for our standoff. So our standoff is 6061 aluminum, just like anybody else's. And the reason for that is that with plastic, you can't get a really good tooth configuration that would hold up over time, in my opinion. Like metal's still where it's at when I want to grip into a tree. And a good example of this is if anybody's ever watched people climb ice with ice axes, most of the ice axes that higher end climbers are using are carbon fiber based, but they have a metal tip on them to dig into the ice, if that makes sense. But yeah, but it creates a really strong component. The thing that you will see when you're dealing with any type of polymer plastics based materials, it will flex. That's what it's supposed to do. It's like I think I talked to you about this, but it's like if you take a bridge or a building, if it didn't flex with weight, it would just crumble to the ground. Same thing with like a climbing rope. If you take a fall on a static rope, it could pop, whereas you have elongation in a dynamic climbing rope to keep from it snapping under load. So when you see, like even with our product or any other type of plastics material, when it flexes a little bit, it's just doing what it's supposed to do and it recovers back. And you know, we had our products third-party tested at an ASTM lab that is the primary lab that 90% of the companies that have their products tested in the tree stand industry use. That they had never seen. Well, we were the first to show this material outside of. There's a company called Stacked Outdoors. I don't know if you've heard of them. They have plastic stacked full climbing sticks. I think that they are TMA tested and approved. Just FYI. But besides them, we were the only material they'd ever seen that they tested on a traditional two-step climbing stick. And after the repetitive motion tests and the weight load test, like at 600 pounds, it started getting a little bend, but after they took the weight load off, it recovered. So that's what it was supposed to do. And it kept doing that. And what we did, I went there and took them one stick. I wanted to test one stick. You don't have to do that. You can give them a stick for every test they do. But I wanted to see how durable our product was. So ours went through the 2-time safety factor to reach 300 pounds with 600 pounds. And then we went ahead and tested it again for the repetitive motion test, which is a test that they do. It essentially gives an example of a person climbing a set of sticks so many times per year times so many years. So for a 2-step stick, it's 1,000 repetitions to meet the ASTM standard for TMA. Our product went 4,005 and it didn't fail. It takes a lot of time to do that. I have the report and I can show you, like, the duration of that was 5 hours. I put right at 5 hours. So they just got tired of doing it. It never failed under the repetitive motion, which for anybody that like essentially questions the durability of these types of materials, like that proves it. You know, it's not me telling you it works. It's like this is scientific data that proves what materials can do. Um, but beyond just lightweight, I mean, currently, and like I've said in posts, we don't tout like we have the lightest stick, but it really is the lightest stick on the market. I mean, we're 1.2 pounds at 20 inches, 1.4 at 24, and it's super light, but it's really quiet. As far as, you know, there's not much, you don't hear metal clang, you know. This is like metal coming in contact. I don't know how well you can hear that, but I make the joke, it sounds like, you know, a set of black rack. But beyond that, the thermal properties of dealing with these types of materials is far superior to aluminum. They don't get cold. So if you touch them when you have really cold hands from walking in, you know, and below 30 temps, we have all witnessed that. We go to climb, we want better dexterity, so we may take our gloves off, and your hands are already numb, and it's hard to function, right? It's hard to climb your sticks. And you're scared to touch your metal. You don't see that when you deal with carbon fiber, and that's what that's, you know, one of the many benefits that most people that have been testing them have shared too.
So what is the difference in the weight? I know you said what they weigh, but have you? I think you said you CNC or whatever the polymer out the other day when we were talking.
Mm-hmm.
Have you done that same thing with that same 6160 or 6061 to see how much the weight savings is? I mean, are they that much lighter, or is it you know, the temperature, thermal, whatever you said, properties and the noise that's more the benefit, or is there a significant weight savings there as well?
I mean, in today's times with climbing sticks, we're getting down to cutting hairs. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, what you'll see is this is not a knock on anybody's product out there, but to get aluminum down in weight, you have to make it shorter. So even if you look at the lightest 17-inch stick, because that's what there's a couple companies out there claiming light sticks, and they're 17 inches, they all weigh 1.5. So ours weighs 1.2 at 20. And then essentially we can put our retractable aider on there and give you another 14 inches of climbing and only add a couple more ounces. So if you look at, I did this the other day, and I should have wrote this down. This would have been a good comparison. But if you do like the cost per inch of climbing, it starts to like reach a parity, you know, like, you know, because we're getting 34 inches out of a 20-inch stick, what, for $135? You know, I mean, it's expensive, but I mean, it's premium cost. Expensive, the bad word, not a good sales word, but it's getting there. But everybody else, you know, you have to do that. But the interesting thing is, once you go to our 24-inch stick, you only gain 2 ounces for another 4 inches of climbing. And then you add an aider on that, which is only another couple of ounces. So you're like at 1.6 for 60, you know, like, try doing math in my head, right? Almost 40 inches of climbing for, you know, 1.6 pounds. So I think that's where you have to really like do some math and think about it. And maybe we need to do a better job of displaying that kind of stuff, you know?
Okay. So that kind of goes right into one of the questions. So it, I'm sorry I don't have this guy's name because he's on his tablet, and it's he always comes up as Wedge Photo Works. So
Nice.
he needs to give me the, because he's on these all the time, and we go back and forth. But he says, you know, why is everybody going to a two-step stick? He said, you know, some of these guys are getting older and they don't want to do the one stick or anything like that. They want to, you know, just climb up the tree, you know. And I think that's one thing where we've kind of lost in this. You know, I had a set of the Muddy Pros. I've got the B sticks. I've made my own, you know, cut down APIs. And for me, I don't even think about the step distance.
Yeah.
And my father-in-law is, you know, 66 years old, and he can't make that step from, he's not athletic enough, to do that. And we're kind of stretching it out. So why is everybody going to those distances in the two steps? I know you have an opinion on this. So
Yeah, I mean, well, the reason I started making these sticks for myself was because I'm a longtime public land mobile hunter. Since I was 7 years old, I've been hunting public land. And when I moved to the mountains, I mean, I've done everything from carrying. I think I told you about carrying the muffler tube, lean-to. Did I tell you about that? Oh, I had my grandfather's buddy made me a muffler tube 3-piece lean-to when I was like 14 that I could strap together and put on my backpack. I mean, on my back to carry into public land. So I've always been doing these types of things. And, like everybody else, when I got older and products developed more, the only choice we had was your traditional 3-step lone wolves, right? And living in the mountains, I use a frame backpack, and the weight never bothered me at all. I mean, I do a lot of backpack stuff, and like wasn't a big issue for me. The two things that were really hard for me was stackability, like things like, even though they're supposed to stack, they would crumble once you put them in your backpack. We've all witnessed that. I always say it's like a Jenga puzzle. But the other thing that was a problem is I had sticks that were sticking above my head. And so if I'm in an area that's thick with briars or multiflora rose, I was always getting stuff behind my head if I was having to crawl through, getting caught on it. And same thing where I live, we have like this shrub tree bush called rhododendron or in laurel that you have to go through these mazes of, and it's just branches would just grab you and just essentially pull you back. So the reason I wanted the 20-inch was it would fit into the profile of my frame pack, and when I stacked them on the back of my pack and tighten them up, I could take the brain, or some people call it a lid, over the top, and it would essentially provide a barrier. I couldn't do that with the longer stick unless I pushed it down, and then it was going to be like catching, it's going to be well below my butt. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be 30, whatever those, I can't remember the length on a 3-step lone wolf, but just too long. 32, yeah, I think that's what it was. So, it was just too long for me and grabbing on stuff in itself. So I wanted to design these for myself to fit into the profile of my torso of my frame pack, which my frame pack's 24-inch. And, that's why we make a 24-inch and a 20.
Okay. And then Chris wants to know, with these, I guess it would kind of go along with, what happens if you nick one or anything like that? Is there any sort of warranty? Is there, the durability warranty, any of that?
Yeah, we have a pretty solid warranty if something that is a manufacturer fail. Like if it's user error, and I don't tell people to do this, but I'm hard on my stuff, and I've dropped these sticks out of the tree onto stuff, and they've held up pretty well. I mean, I still ride high-end bikes that I bounce over logs. It's not fragile. It seems like it, because when you pick them up, it's kind of mind-blowing of how they're light, but just how they're balanced is very interesting. And that's the first thing that anybody that's tried them has said, is like they just don't feel like they're real. And but from the perspective, if it's a manufacturer fail, yeah, we have it covered. But if you throw them out and drop them on a jagged rock and they crack, that's really a user error, in my opinion. It's not like you're buying a premium product, so you wouldn't throw your carbon riser Hoyt out of a tree, so you have to think about these things, like they are what they are. And I've used this before too, and comes from cycling with aluminum bikes. If you ding aluminum, it's compromised in that area, and that's a weak point in aluminum, just the same way it would be with carbon fiber.
Okay. We've got some other questions about some, if you've got any other products or anything, but before we move on to anything else, I just wanted to know one other thing. One of the things I've heard you talk about on other podcasts, and You talked about it on ours, but it'd be a pretty good visual right now to be able to show. You talk about the way that your sticks stack. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
what's different about that, or
Okay. I've got well, this set here has the Genesis 3D printed stick clips on there. Shout out to Austin, which the product will stack without them. But when I saw him doing what he was doing, I was like, well, this is a really cool feature that would make them where, they don't go anywhere. They did that time because they popped out. But if you shake them like that. So what's different about ours and what we did here is, can you see that?
Mhm.
So when they stack into the steps, and we end milled our our standoff to where it goes into this step itself. Okay. And what we do also, which this is up for some patent design stuff, but another thing we did is we don't have any exposed nuts or bolt heads on the outside. Everything's flush and clean all the way through the whole stick. So there's no indention. So that allows you to get a flat stack where you don't have to do a staggered stack. Does that make sense? I mean, the biggest problem I ever had with the Lone Wolf sticks and the original ones was the bolt was the problem. The end nut, sorry, not the bolt, the end nut was the problem. It was just, you stagger, it just never would really seat. So even without using the Genesis, if you take your normal lashing method, like what I've always done, and I'm sure most people do, is they just take whatever they're using and tie it up on, attach it to the tree, and you just wrap it around. This isn't, I'm not gonna do it that tight, but so I mean you're not gonna get, so you know how when you would do that with the other ones, you guys have probably done this at night when you're trying to stack your sticks, they just collapse over, and you're fidgeting with things at night, and you're tired and it's late and all these things. So that was one of the key benefits that I was looking for when I was designing these for myself.
Okay.
That explain it well enough?
Yeah, yeah. And I don't think we talked about this when we talked last, but you were talking about no bolt on the back there and how the standoff is threaded. Does that still allow for it to, you know, kind of rock back and forth, or is it machined? The tolerance is so tight that it doesn't do that. Because sometimes when you get on a tree, those standoffs moving like that
Right.
is what makes the difference.
Yeah, it gives it a little bit of micro movement. I mean, it's very. I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see this, but the tolerances are extremely tight, but they do allow for a little bit of movement, and that's somewhat of what people will see in the step itself. Is you got to have those tolerances, because we were talking about earlier. This is a propulsion process, so they have variances for how big and small the tube gets. I mean, it's within thousandths. So there was no way we could make our products to be machined. And this is the same thing with aluminum. Aluminum is going to have the same tolerance variances. So it's very micro. So yeah, I mean, you will see a little bit of play, but it's not anything. If you've ever climbed on any other stick out there, that doesn't happen. I mean, I can get on my Muddy Pros, I can get on my Lone Wolves or any other stick, especially a two-step stick. Two steps. A single two-step is the most prone to move, unless they do. You can put two screws in there, but we chose to do one. Just we wanted to do a beefed up one bolt to make it more sturdy.
Okay. And so one of the fun things about this platform is I can bring people on So we got somebody here that he's got to order in for some of your sticks, and he had some questions. And I'm going to see if I can get him to start his video.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. I bet you're about 4 strawberry daiquiris deep, aren't you?
Dude, I'm at the beach,
Yeah.
and so you look. I'm here for you,
I know
Jason.
you are.
I'm here for you.
Hey,
You and your Cody Jinks shirt, which is badass.
wow.
I'm there.
So what questions did you have about the sticks that you got in the mail?
Yeah.
On the way.
When's he getting them? That's right.
Yeah, like I put that order in, and I'm still waiting on those.
You
So,
put that in March, didn't you?
dude, I've had those in hand, and those sticks are bad to the bone, and I'm stoked about getting those. Especially now, the new part for me though will be the aider. I I didn't have that on the sticks that I was playing with back what 3 months ago.
Yeah, yeah. I apologize that T-Bone Taylor got his before you.
So let's talk a
Dude,
little bit about the aider. What have you got going on there with the removable aiders?
They're not removable.
Okay.
It's a retractable aider. So,
Retractable. Okay.
yeah, and we call it. It doesn't pull itself up, but you slide it out, and you get 14 inches of climbing on the 20-inch stick, and then when you're done, you just slide her back up the tube.
so I do have a couple questions on that. So how comfortable have you felt that is? Like what I'm using now
Yeah.
on the sticks I'm using a one-step movable aider, just a homemade. I put a garden hose.
Yeah.
Like how does it feel without, like, just with what you're using now? Is it comfortable? Is there any discomfort? What do you feel in there?
Well, it depends on if you're climbing in Crocs.
Well, that is
That's a new thing. That's a new thing these days. I mean, it's not going to be any more uncomfortable than any other. It's it is a wire rope, so it's definitely going to be put more pressure into the arch of your foot than
Right.
the step would itself. And I mean, if you climbed on aiders, none of them are really comfortable, and
For sure.
you're not on them very long either. You're going to the step, and if you're a old school legit tree stand hunter, you have to hang out for a little bit while you're setting your stand up.
So like, no, I have seen, and I've put hands on, when I was down in Nashville with you, like a month ago, pulling them out, but I have not tested them. So how easy is it for, like, the average hunter to pull out the aider and just use that in corporation with the stick itself?
Oh, it's super easy, man. As far as pulling it out and putting it in,
These guys.
you do have to toe point. Like if you've used any aider, you got to toe point into the tree, because if not, your foot's going to be.
Oh, you're flying for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I had a guy ask me the other day that he chose not to go with aiders, but he was going to use his own Amstel aider, and he was wanting to attach it, from one side.
Yep.
And which I don't suggest, because just from a climbing background, you always want your power point to be as center as possible. Now,
Right.
our stick, if you've climbed on them, they do not. It's hard for them to kick out. So I feel confident that you could put that pressure there, but just from sensible climbing knowledge, you always want your power point to be as center as possible.
Right. Right.
Well, all right, Adrian. I appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with your boy for a minute.
Yeah.
But we got some more questions to get to. So
From paying customers.
Yeah. You don't need my shenanigans. I get it. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Nice hat, by the way.
So back to the other questions that we had, as far as other things than sticks. What do you have? Do you have any plans for a saddle platform, tree stand, other things along those lines?
We actually, yeah, we do. We're if anybody followed us, we're very transparent, and I don't really have to hide anything. You know, it's just not our thing. We share everything. Yeah, we do have a camera arm coming out, and we we have a rough prototype that we've played with, and I sent it to an engineer that does some development in carbon fiber with satellite companies to really beef it up. So I have 10 production prototypes being made right now, and but it doesn't have to be tested as far as at a lab for, you know, third party weight testing. We already know it works. What we had, we just made it better and more robust. So that should be coming out before season is the goal with that one. It's a really lightweight, compact, mobile hunting, self-filming type scenario. You know, I think, in my opinion, I'm not a self-filmer. I'm starting this year. I think Fourth Arrow does the best job of having the most robust system. But from a saddle, I mean, not saddle, but a self-filmer mobile hunter guy that's doing his own thing, I think we're going to have a really cool product for people that, and it came from ideas from Jordan, who's a partner in Timber Ninja Outdoors, who's been filming for, I don't know, 20 years. And also Taylor Chamberlain's given a lot of insight on what he likes, and that's how we've perfected this little camera arm. It's cool. And people have seen, you know, we've shown it to some people. It's pretty cool, and it packs really flat, so you can just slide it into your pack or whatever. And the most exciting thing for me is the our lock-on tree stand, which I mean, people have seen pictures of the hybrid one that we had made that I hunted out of, which is a mixture of carbon fiber, metal, and polymer. But we do have a stand that will be coming out that will be all carbon fiber except for we have metal in it to bite into the tree. But yeah, so essentially they took the stand design that I came up with, and we've turned it into carbon fiber to reach, weight, and all the other cool features and benefits. And we have some other really cool things that will be integrated into the lock-on stand to make it a really sweet, you know, it's going to really appeal to the backpack hunter and also the guy that doesn't carry a backpack and wants to carry a stand on his back with his stuff. But it's super. I mean, it's lightweight. I mean, right now it's already it's 5 pounds on the nose for an 18 by 24 platform with a 20-inch post. So you don't have to be, you know, you don't have to go down in post height. For me, for 6'2", 20 inches is about right. And the seat design is really cool, and especially for guys like myself that hunt out of a lock on and like to position a tree between them and the animal. So you can essentially kind of turn around and face the tree semi-comfortably. I mean, it's not the most comfortable thing, but it definitely works. You know, feel like you're sliding out of it.
Okay, and so on the carbon fiber stand, or you know, you hadn't mentioned whether you were working on a platform or anything like that for a saddle hunter, but how quiet is the carbon fiber stand? You know, so when you're on it, I guess that would stem from when you have extruded metal or hollow anything, metal, what we're used to that shifting and flexing and those squeaks and creaks and that sort of thing. And then, you know, the standard seems to be, you know, a cast or a solid piece as far as like when you bang something on it, you know. So
it's
how quiet?
It's going to be a solid core design. It's
Okay.
not going to be an open tube. Yeah, there's a lot more stuff I'm not going to share about it. That's going to make it really sweet, but
We're all friends here.
Yeah, we're all friends. Yeah, it's coming quick because I'll leave for Alaska on Wednesday, and it's the prototype that's ready for production should be here by the time I get back. So to look it over and then move forward with production on it. And the beauty of like some of the engineer systems that my manufacturing partner does here. We can incorporate all the stress tolerances they've already have the ASTM standards for tree stands. So they've already put that into the model. So it, pretty much should pass the test. And, like anything else, we're not going to release anything unless it's tested. But yeah, it should be cool. And yeah, slip resistant and cool things like that. There may be camo options. You never know.
Okay. And then, so for your sticks, Eric here, he was asking if you could use them as a platform for the saddle. So if you could, or if you have any idea or ideas for making one of the top step platforms out of the polymer that we're seeing now from Artisan Outdoor Fabrication or Out on a Limb, they've got their Scout platform just on the top there.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And we were going to release the saddle platform before the stand, but we chose not to because I felt like really there need to be the stand. Really, that was the big thing. There's still a lot of tree stand hunters out there, right? So we put emphasis there. And I've kind of looked at what a cost perspective would be of making like a regular traditional saddle platform. And we haven't plugged the models in to see what the weight savings would be. I think we could get below some of the people's traditional saddle platforms. Sorry, I'm kind of expanding this out, but I have looked at the benefits that I see for myself from saddle hunting is early season bed hunting. When I'm sneaking in close, I can just get up and set up. So I have been kicking around the idea of doing like something that attaches to the stick or some little micro platform, for the guys who are just going to be there for a few hours. It's not going to be something that would be a all day sit scenario. So yeah, we're still playing with that. I mean, that may be something we see, like I said, we're a mobile hunting products company. We're not a stick company or a tree stand company. We're going to continue to evolve and innovate. So we have a lot of stuff in the brain and pipeline, but yeah, there's no telling. I'm already on, in my mind, I'm already on Gen 2 of the stick. So it's like,
Okay. Well, I think we've got through all the questions here, and we're, it's been 45 minutes coming up on an hour. I guess what other things would you like people to take away from this? Because, I mean, I have to imagine, as I am in all realms of mobile hunting and, people coming at you with questions, I guess what's the most common question that you have to answer about carbon fiber sticks, or any like myths or misnomers, that you wish you could just tell everybody right off the bat?
I mean, the biggest questions that I receive are some of the ones you asked about the durability. And, I think people have to step back and look at what else is made out of carbon fiber and understand that if it didn't work for those products, they wouldn't be using it. I mean, we're talking Department of Defense, prosthetics. A guy the other day chimed in, and he works on a boat, which I used to work on a river boat for a long time, so I'm familiar. The drive shafts on these 5,000 horsepower engines on his tugs are now all carbon fiber. So you have to understand, like, the tensile strength and durability, the weather resistance, all these things are, there's a reason it's there, and it's not going anywhere. I mean, you're seeing every day more and more products being made out of carbon fiber, phone cases, car panels, like everything. So I would think people really just need to think about what else is being made and understand that it's durable, because the thing is when you put them in your hand, it shocks you. I mean, I have to admit, like, you don't think that something that fills this how it does can be durable, but it's, our products, and I'm speaking for us as a company, they've been tested. Like, we wouldn't put anything out there. And I think I put a video, I don't know how many people saw this, but from now on, with all orders going out, we're going to include a full copy of all of our ASTM third-party testing that shows the data for the load testing and the repetitive motion. So from a business standpoint and a product liability, like, it's not us telling you, hey buddy, it works. It's like, this is the data and this is what was proven in a test lab. I mean, besides that, it's like I said, in before, because we've had some people, ask us and see, one guy posted a video, you will see some flex in like the step and stuff, but there again, the testing and everything should let you understand that you're at height with a product that has been tested and is confirmed from a durability and a safety perspective.
Okay. Question here. And then when we get to, if you put in an order, and as we get closer and closer to the season, and you're trying to get new products out and things like that, what are lead times?
It's a great question, Adam. We started out, and if anybody's followed us for a while, you've heard me talk on and on. I hate to say me, I kind of am the poster boy for our company, but we have we have Tyler and Jordan involved too. I just can't force them to get in front of the camera to take over some of this. So I have to be the poster boy. But one thing that we stand behind, and we've always said, is we're going to be an innovative company of mobile hunting products. We're going to continue to innovate, but we're also going to strive to have the best customer service and cut down on lead times. We had a little bit of lead time, which we were transparent with in the beginning, 4 to 6 weeks, which we had a few delays because of the COVID stuff, and I'm not using it as an excuse, but it is reality. So we ended up shipping some of the first guys' orders in 7 weeks. But right now we've got orders that were placed we've shipped everything up till last week, and I just picked up a big material pile today, and we're going to be shipping everything else, and the orders coming in next week, and we have a stockpile there. And then all of our manufacturers, we have blanket orders in with, so they're just essentially releasing as we need it. And I can't talk much about this, but we have a pretty big announcement coming out on a joint marketing partnership that I think people are going to be really into. So we're building up for that too. So our goal, and it's hard as a small company to say that we're always going to have products in stock and ready to go, because it's hard to forecast things. I mean, I can dump as much money right now as we can to build up stock, which I think we're doing a great job, but we don't know what demand's going to be, because like this, it can blow up. Because I mean, we have people, you guys see it all the time, there's people still waiting from February on some products that they've already placed orders on. So I feel very confident where we're at, and I feel very happy where we're going with that, to continue with that level of service. And one thing I think most people could say about us for sure is, if you had any experience with working with me, if you message me, you're getting a message, or our company, you're getting a message within if an hour is usually too long. And like I've told you before, unless it's after 9 o'clock Eastern time, because I usually clock out about then. But yeah, man, we're wanting to be the best at customer service. That's number one, next to innovative products and giving back to conservation.
Sure. And where can people follow along or contact you? And I can tell you this. So before I reached out to Jason or called him or talked to him or anything, I shot him a message on Instagram, and he called me within 10 minutes, I think. So, I mean, he's not lying there, because I'm not that big of a deal that he needs to just call me back. It wasn't me. So
everybody's a big deal to me, man. I mean, like I've told, I think you and everybody, some other people, you call me about my primary day job company, you're not going to get me after hours. But you call me about hunting and about this company, like, I'm passionate about what we're doing with it. I love talking hunting and products. I had a guy call me on Saturday from Memphis, which is very close to where I was born, and called me to asking about products. And we ended up talking for 2 hours, just BSing about hunting. I mean, that's the thing that I really like to do. And any of y'all that have had me on your podcast, like, I much rather prefer discussing mountain hunting than talking about our products, but we got to do some selling for them, I guess.
Well, you do a heck of a job on safety too. So
try to, man. I mean, we want to get better, and anybody that's giving us any feedback on our products, we're all ears, man. Like I said, this isn't the first thing we're going to do, and it's going to continue to get better. We're getting our foot in here.
Sure. So where can people find you, or where can they reach out to you? How do they get a hold of you?
On social media platforms, Timber Ninja Outdoors. That's Facebook, Instagram. We have a YouTube channel which we not only talk about product, but we do a lot of gear reviews and some cooking stuff. And we're gonna be doing some, showing some hunts this year. We're gonna be filming. And then our website is www.timberninjaoutdoors.com.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think that's all we got. You answered all the questions. I think that's great. So, for everybody, the next Vitals Live will be next Tuesday, I believe. And we'll be back with you. Keep checking the website, follow along with everything on social media, and definitely check out Jason's pages and, YouTube. He does more than just sticks and stuff like that. I mean, you need to have a conversation with this guy if you get a chance. It's super interesting. He is the timber ninja.
Yeah, that's funny. That's good. I'm gonna get that tattooed. I'm gonna pay for Adrian to get that tattooed across his stamp.
All right, I think that's all we got for this evening. We're going to shut her down. And
thanks, man. Thanks for having us on there, brother.
Yep, no problem.